We're staring at an NFL record $99 million anchor that's officially liquidated this roster. By exercising the option bonus before the release, GM Jon-Eric Sullivan just locked in a $55.4 million dead cap charge for 2026, with another $43.8 million haunting us in 2027. It's the highest price ever paid for a fresh start. But before this video wraps, I'm showing you the one defensive weapon who makes this financial suicide actually viable. We're talking about a technician who logged 109 snaps in the box, 124 as a deep free safety, and 58 in the slot last season. He's the only chess piece with the range to cover the holes left by the veterans we just shipped out, but his name stays off the table for now. We've got to look at the wreckage he's walking into first, because the bargain bin move Sullivan just authorized. I'm Dustin Davis, and if you're willing to look at the wreckage without the rose-colored glasses, drop a like on this video, as lets me know you're ready for the hard truth, and let's get into the roster purge. The front office isn't waiting for the smoke to clear. They're filling the gaps with low-risk assets, starting with edge rusher Josh Uche on a one-year prove-it deal. Uche is the newest addition to a bargain bin. Before this signing, Miami was scraping by with $6.7 million in space, and that's only because they restructured Austin Jackson's deal to find couch cushion money. That Jackson restructure was mandatory. Without it, the lights go out. Sullivan is playing a high-stakes game of Tetris with the cap, and Uche is a cheap piece that fits the 2026 budget. Uche's 2022 tape showed 11.5 sacks, but the last two seasons were a nosedive. 3 sacks in 23 and just 2 in 24. The market cooled on him for a reason. He's a situational rusher who got lost in the shuffle in Kansas City and Philly. He's a hired gun, nothing more. If you ignore the sack column and look at the efficiency, there's a pulse. Last year in Philly, he hit a 17.4% pressure rate and an 85.1 PFF grade on limited snaps. That's the calculation. Sacks are for the headlines. Pressures are what actually break a game plan. We're banking on elite efficiency from a guy who's only 226 pounds. It's a gamble, but with Chop Robinson as the only other viable body in the room, it's a gamble we had to take. This obsession with cheap, one-year deals is a direct result of being third in the league in dead money, trailing only the Saints and Jets. We're officially paying the bill for years of backloading contracts. This is what happens when you treat the salary cap like a credit card. Eventually, the bank calls in the debt. The financial wreckage is why we watched tight end Julian Hill walk to the Patriots on an $18 million deal. To fill the void, insider Tom Pelissero confirmed the signing of tight end Ben Sims to a one-year contract. Sims has 45 NFL games under his belt, but only 11 career catches. Sims isn't here to catch touchdowns. He's a road grader who blocked on 361 of his 520 snaps. He's a system guy Sullivan brought in from Green Bay because he knows the playbook and doesn't cost a dime. The skill group around Malik Willis remains a liability. Outside of Devon Achane and Jalen Waddle, it's a ghost town. Sullivan promised size in the WR room, but his primary move so far is 5'9" Tutu Atwell. Sullivan is talking big and acting small. You can't ask a young QB to survive without a physical safety net. Until I see a real target with size, the talk about a culture shift is just PR noise. While we're stressing over who's throwing the ball, a massive crater just ripped open on the defensive side of the ball. Remember that versatile defensive weapon I warned you about at the start of the video? The draft might already hold the exact answer to our biggest problem. Trading Minkah Fitzpatrick away was basically the final nail in the coffin for the Chris Grier era. Once Grier got shipped out of town, we all knew Minkah's bags were already packed. The front office sent him packing to the New York Jets right on the heels of dumping Tua Tagovailoa, totally ripping the Band-Aid off and slamming the door shut on that whole messy chapter. Sending Minkah to a hated divisional rival didn't exactly hand the Jets the Lombardi trophy, but ripping him out of our secondary definitely leaves a massive glaring hole at safety. How Sullivan and Hafley choose to plug that leak is going to tell us exactly what kind of football they plan on playing in South Florida. You don't just ship out a multi-time All-Pro without a backup plan unless you're completely tanking. Sullivan better have an ace up his sleeve because right now, the back end of our defense looks like Swiss cheese. This brings us to the Ohio State solution. The name lighting up the radar is safety Caleb Downs. Everybody with eyes knows this kid is the absolute undisputed top safety in the 2026 NFL Draft. Draft junkies are already calling him one of the greatest safety prospects to come out of college in a long time. If he somehow slips and is still sitting there when Miami goes on the clock at number 11, Sullivan might actually just pull the trigger instead of trying to trade back for extra picks. I usually hate burning premium picks on a safety, but you make an exception for a pure game wrecker. If a generational talent falls into your lap, you don't overthink it. You sprint the cart up to the podium. Downs isn't some rigid one-trick pony. The guy's toolkit fits into literally any defense you want to run. That 2025 tape I mentioned earlier proves it. 109 snaps down in the box, 124 times as a deep free safety, and locking guys down for 58 snaps in the slot. That kind of insane flexibility lets a defensive coordinator get crazy creative. For a brand new head coach trying to build a totally fresh defensive vibe, having a weapon like that is an absolute goldmine. Forget the raw numbers for a second, because Downs brings something you flat out can't teach. Pure, relentless effort. He goes 100 miles an hour on every single snap, no matter where he's lined up or what the scoreboard says. For a locker room that's desperately trying to flip the culture and stop being soft, dragging a dog like that into the building changes the whole energy. This is exactly what Hafley has been preaching since day one. We need guys who eat turf and genuinely love hitting people. Downs plays like his hair is on fire, and that kind of violence is contagious. We desperately need bodies back there right now. Miami technically has 5 safeties on their contract, but 3 of them are walking out the door into free agency. Our safety room is a complete ghost town right now. You can't roll into opening day depending on camp bodies to stop the elite quarterbacks in the AFC. It's crazy how history repeats itself because people are already comparing this exact scenario to back in 2018 when Miami drafted Minkah with that exact same number 11 overall pick. Taking a safety that high always starts a massive argument. The old school guys swear you shouldn't burn a premium pick on a safety because you can find starters in the later rounds. The harsh reality is guys built like Downs don't just grow on trees. If the board falls our way and he's sitting there at 11, you throw the charts in the trash and just draft the best football player available. You aren't going to find another kid in this class who blends that freakish range, raw athleticism, alpha leadership, and the ability to play 4 different spots on the field. If Miami's hot brand Sullivan and Hafley actually mean what they say about changing the DNA of this broken franchise, this first pick is going to show us their true colors. Downs checks every single box they've been begging for. Remember those 109 snaps in the box and 58 snaps in the slot I told you about at the start of this video? That's the exact blueprint. He's totally selfless, he fights like a dog on every snap, and he'd instantly be the best player in our entire secondary the second he puts on the hat. The whole safety group is a total mess, and we literally just shipped out the best player we had back there. But the crazy part? The draft is staring us right in the face with a direct day 1 upgrade. You don't get the chance to perfectly replace an all-pro with a hungrier keeper rookie very often. So if Caleb Downs is on the board at 11, Sullivan has to make the call that defines his job. If you want to see if this new front office actually has the guts to pull the trigger on a real culture change, drop a like, hit subscribe, and let's ride out this rebuild together.